the young and the restless spoilers. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday, a pretty rainy and miserable day where I am, which honestly fits the vibe of the show perfectly right now. Grab a massive cup of coffee because we have a lot to get through today. I'm running on fumes and zero sleep, but I had to sit down and type this all out before. So let's just get right into it because I am honestly still shaking a little bit from what we are seeing unfold on our screens. And I'll just have to say it right out of the gate. Victor Newman is a toxic, toxic man. I know. That is not breaking news. We have all been watching this show for years, some of us for decades, and we know exactly who Victor is. He is a man who loves to play God. He is a man who constantly, and I mean constantly, finds new and inventive ways to ruin the lives of the people around him. But you guys, what he is doing right now, what he just did to Sally Spectra, it is a whole new level of dark, and I am honestly a bit sick to my stomach over it. It's just cruel, absolutely cruel. Let's be real for a second and look at Sally's journey. Sally has been fighting so incredibly hard for her future. She has been knocked down, dragged through the mud, fired, humiliated, and broken, but she always gets back up. She has been trying so hard to build a life for herself in Genoa City, to prove that she is more than just her past mistakes, and now she's pregnant again, which should be this beautiful, redemptive moment. But instead, it is turning into a total nightmare. She is already dealing with so much garbage from Billy and Jill. Jill is constantly judging her. Billy is letting his own insecurities make him question the paternity of the baby, which is just gross. But Sally is already on edge. He is already feeling completely isolated and alone. And then in walks Victor Newman, because of course he does. Victor can never just let anyone be happy, especially not someone he has decided he doesn't like. And he despises Sally. He always has. But the Victor we are seeing right now, he has changed. He is more unhinged. He's more ruthless. I mean, look at what he is doing to Nikki right now. He is literally drugging his own wife, taking advantage of her severe, terrifying headaches to trick her into signing away her Newman Enterprises shares. He is liquidating her assets while she is sedated. If he can do that to the love of his life, to Nikki, what do you think he is capable of doing to Sally? So Victor and Sally have this confrontation, and it is explosive. It is messy, and it is loud, and it is honestly terrifying to watch. Sally is trying to stand her ground. She is trying to be this strong, independent woman who is fighting for her future and for the future of her unborn child. She is trying to tell him to back off. But Victor doesn't back off. He never backs off. He just gets meaner. And then he says it. He actually says it. Victor yells right in her face, his voice booming like it always does when he wants to intimidate someone. And he says, "I will steal the baby as soon as you give birth." I literally gasped when I saw that. I had to pause the screen and just sit there for a minute because I couldn't believe they went there. What were the writers thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well? It is one thing to threaten someone's job or their company. It is a completely different thing to threaten to steal a woman's newborn child right out of her arms. But here is the thing that makes it so much worse. Here is the thing that makes Victor a complete and utter bastard for saying this. He knows exactly what he is doing. He knows exactly what buttons he is pushing, because when he says those words, when he threatens to take her baby, it instantly, and I mean instantly, triggers Sally's deepest, darkest. Ava, you guys remember Ava, How could any of us forget? The baby she had with Adam, the baby she lost, the grief that completely destroyed her and Adam, the grief that she still carries with her every single day. Sally still blames herself for what happened to Ava. She still wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about the child she lost. And Victor knows this. He knows the pain she went through. He watched his own son, Adam, shatter into a million pieces over the loss of that little girl. And yet, Victor looks at Sally, a pregnant woman who is already terrified of losing another child, and he weaponizes that trauma against her. He uses the memory of her dead baby to torture her. It is psychological warfare. It is abuse. There is no other word for it. Maybe I'm being too harsh. No, wait. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean, right? I'm not being too harsh. It is exactly what it is. Victor is intentionally inflicting severe emotional distress on a vulnerable pregnant woman just because he can, because he wants to break her. And the worst part? The absolute most terrifying part for Sally, she knows he isn't bluffing. Victor Newman does not make empty threats. If he says he is going to steal your baby, he is going to steal your baby. This is a man who has faked deaths, who has kidnapped people, who has bought and sold human beings like they are chess pieces. He has endless resources, endless money, and absolutely zero moral. If he decides he wants to take Sally's child the second she delivers, he will pay off doctors, he will forge documents, he will do whatever it takes to make that baby disappear into the Newman machine. He would really do it. He would actually do it. And Sally knows that. You can see it in her eyes. You can see the exact moment her spirit just completely breaks. The sheer terror washes over her face. She stops fighting back. She stops yelling. She just freezes. Because how do you fight a monster who has all the power in the world and has just promised to take the one thing you care about most? She is terrified, just absolutely terrified. She starts suffocating in that room with him. The walls are closing in. The memories of the hospital, of the monitors beeping, of Adam crying, of losing Ava, it all comes rushing back like a tidal wave. She is having a full-blown panic attack. She can't breathe. She can't think. All she knows is that she has to get away. She has to run. She has to protect this baby from Victor, from the Newmans, from all of it. So she runs. She just turns and flees. She runs away from Victor. She runs away from the toxicity. She runs away from the doubts that Billy and Jill planted in her head. She is completely alone, entirely isolated, and she is running for. And this is where the story just gets so incredibly tragic and so incredibly frustrating, because we know what happens next. We know from the timeline, from what happened a few episodes ago, that Sally runs out into a blinding rainstorm. The weather is terrible, the roads are slick, and her vision is blurred by her own tears and her sheer panic. She gets into her car. She shouldn't be driving. She is in no state to drive, but she is in full fight or flight mode. And Victor has triggered the flight response so hard that she didn't even know what do. She just hits the gas, and she crashes. The car flips. She crawls out of the wreckage before it catches. And then comes the agonizing pain in her stomach. She loses the baby. She miscarries. Honestly, I am just so mad at the writers right now. Why do they keep doing this to Sally? Hasn't she suffered enough? Why does she have to lose another child? It is just misery porn at this point, and I am so tired of it. But if we look at the narrative, if we look at the cause and effect, the blood is entirely on Victor Newman's hand. Yes, Billy and Jill were awful. Yes, they made her feel unsupported, and unloved. But Victor is the one who delivered the kill shot. Victor is the one who looked a traumatized mother in the eyes and promised to recreate her worst nightmare. He drove her out into that storm. He caused that crash. And I can't help but wonder what is going to happen when the dust settles. What happens when Adam finds out? Because you know Adam is going to find out. Adam is already on a razor's edge dealing with Nick's drug addiction and the whole Matt Clark hostage situation in Vegas. Adam is already stressed to the max. When he finds out that his father, the man he is constantly trying to please and constantly fighting with, is the reason Sally lost another baby, the reason she was so terrified that she drove off a cliff in the rain, Adam is going to lose his mind. The spider persona is going to come out in full force, and I honestly hope he burns Newman Enterprises to the ground. Victor deserves every single bit of karma that is coming his way. He has crossed a line that you just cannot uncross. You do not threaten a mother's child. You do not use a dead baby as a bargaining chip or a scare tactic. It is vile. And where is Billy in all of this? Billy, who is supposed to be her partner. Billy, who is supposed to be protecting her. He completely failed her. He let his mother get into his head. He let his own toxic patterns dictate his behavior, and he left Sally completely vulnerable to a predator like Victor. Billy is going to have to live with the regret of knowing that while he was busy questioning if the baby was even his, Sally was being psychologically tortured by Victor Newman and was running for her life. It is going to destroy Billy, and honestly, he kind of deserves to be destroyed by it right now. I just feel so incredibly bad for Sally. She is sitting in that hospital bed, or wherever she is right now, dealing with the physical pain of the crash and the unimaginable emotional agony of losing a second child, all because she dared to try and have a life. All because she dared to exist in the same orbit as the Newmans and the Abbotts. It is just not fair. It is really, really not fair. I don't know, you guys. I am just rambling at this point, but I had to get this off my chest. The show is just so heavy right now, between Diane being held hostage by that creepy doctor, Markham, Patty Williams kidnapping Ashley's family, and now this absolute tragedy with Sally. It is a lot to process. It feels like the whole town of Genoa City is just spiraling into darkness, and Victor Newman is sitting at the very top of the hill, pulling the strings and watching everyone suffer. I really hope Sally gets some justice. I hope she doesn't just forgive and forget. I want to see her rise up from the ashes of this crash and absolutely destroy Victor. I want her to take everything from him. Okay, I know that's probably not going to happen because Victor always wins, but a girl can dream, right? Anyway, I need to wrap this up before I start crying out of sheer frustration. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you as disgusted with Victor as I am? Do you think Adam is going to go after him when he finds out the truth? And seriously, can the writers please give Sally Spectra a break for once in her life? I'm going to go get another coffee and try to calm down. Thanks for reading this massive rant. You guys are the best. I'll catch you in the next update.